Alright, good afternoon everyone. My name is Joshua Fekes Quest. I am joined once again by Octavian. Thank you for joining me. This is another quarterfinal matchup, this time between North Carolina State University and Robert Morris University. How's it going, Octavian?
It's going very well, and if today's matches are going to be anything like yesterday's, I'm already pretty dang hyped for them.
Oh yeah, for sure. One thing to note in here, RMU, just like Maryville, are actually undefeated. They're on both sides of the bracket, or opposite sides of the bracket, I should say, so there may be a chance that we could see them in the finals, but North Carolina State University, somewhat of a fairy tale coming out right now. They were the ones who didn't look like they should be here, but they are fighting tooth and nail against all odds, and they are here. They are wanting to put Robert Morris University out of this tournament and advance on to DreamHack. Remember, this is the quarterfinal. These are the quarterfinals because we're going to actually have multiple games today. These are the quarterfinals today, so whoever wins any of the games today, they will be advancing on to Austin to the semifinals. But we are in picks and bans. Zillion and Echo, first one's banned out by North Carolina State University and CSU, and Trundle banned out by RMU.
Yeah, and you know these players a bit more in depth than I do, Fekes. Zillion isn't exactly a power pick in the current meta. He's seen play here and there across virtually all regions, actually, in Season 6, but he's never been really pick or ban. Is there any particular reason why you think NCSU is taking him out of the picture right here, or is it a mystery for us?
Well, one of the things that I really like about collegiate play is that they do have their niche picks. Obviously, NCSU, they've made it this far for a good reason. They've obviously done their research on teams coming up to this point, RMU being one of those big teams. I feel like everyone has done research on RMU. They made a big wave last year, and they must know something. Obviously, I mean, I honestly don't get the chance to see them play week in, week out, unfortunately, but they do want to keep track of their opponents. So the Zillion band definitely educated along with the Xerath as well, as you don't see those banned out very often, as you said. So they know what they're doing on that one. They feel like they should take it away from RMU and kind of force them to play on a little bit less comfort picks here. Trundle, Ezreal, and Graves banned by RMU. So a lot of focus on the ADCs. Of course, Graves ADC, but he goes top or jungle as well.
Yeah, Graves has a few part-time jobs in the current meta. I think I've seen Graves played in every position but support at this point in competitive play. If I do see the day where I see a Graves support, I think that's the day that I resign.
Yeah, well, at that point, they really need to do something to Graves because there's something wrong with him if he can go any place, any position. I mean, Lulu, honestly, Lulu is kind of at that point, top, mid, or support. She can't go ADC, can't go jungle, so Graves does have her on that one. I don't see
You have
too
no
many.
faith in the machine gun picks, Lulu?
Yeah, well, I have faith in Criddlestick, so don't tempt me on that one.
Oh, Gragas is certainly a very strong first pick. Versatile in the current meta. He can. I've even been seeing some heavier into AP builds going mid lane Gragas, but of course the tank Gragas, jungle, and top lane are still strong. So not really revealing too much from the side of NCSU so far. We'll see whether RMU can pick up more power in their first two picks.
Yeah, Gragas definitely not giving away too much. Very standard pick. Also standard picks you're not giving away is the Maokai. Maokai's been coming up more and more in these picks, and especially in the top lane. See him jungle every now and then, but more comfortable in the top lane. But we also have a Severe locked in for Mikey Mouse. Mikey Mouse, as it's actually kind of called, depending on how you want to pronounce that. But Severe, utility ADC, going to be speeding up. Utility ADC with the Severe with the Maokai. So versatile. Pop the On the Hunt, and you have an extremely fast Twisted Advance coming at your face if you're on the side of NCSU.
And speaking of NCSU, they did just kind of give away a little bit of what could have been a flex pick in this Gragas. Having picked up Kindred, you really don't show that anywhere but jungle. So that looks like we're going to be seeing lane Gragas, and we will not be seeing the stranger mid lane Gragas, but instead the more standard top lane Gragas as Azir gets locked in as well. So showing off both their solo lanes and their jungle already, but still opting to hide any information on bottom side into the last two picks.
Yeah, we do have the mid lane picked up, or I guess picked for NCSU, so yeah, RMU, they do have a chance to counter pick here. But, so this is interesting with the Kindred pick. That actually makes us wonder, where is the Gragas going? Where is the Kindred going? Kindred most prominent in the jungle. but so is Gragas. So Gragas could be going top lane. As you said, we haven't seen him top a little bit more often, but still mostly in the jungle. But with Kindred locked in, more than likely is going to be the Gragas in the top lane. But on the other side, Mikey Mouse, we do have a Nidalee jungle, and we've seen Freaking Pope on him, or at least I've seen Freaking Pope on him before. He's pretty good on the Nidalee, very comfortable. We'll see if he can make that play out into this the first game in this best of 3. We're going to see what NCSU decide to round out their comp with. A Soraka, very powerful. That would go really well with the Kindred, and they're going to lock it in.
Yeah, always with the Soraka pick, you're lacking a little bit of CC out of the bottom side. Don't underestimate the power of that silence. There is still something there, I suppose, but Soraka is a far more defensive pick. But it works because Sivir and Braum aren't really going to be going too aggressively anyways. Post 6, they have the ability to engage with Sivir ulti, but before that level 6 power spike, it's going to be really easy for Soraka to just keep Lucian topped off and keep him farming and keep all danger at bay if it does turn into a 2v2 bottom side.
Now, with those locked in, though, RMU, they have a chance to counterpick this Azir. It's hard to counterpick an Azir because he's such a very safe laner. I'm going to see what he does, especially with the Sand Soldiers. He has very good mobility, a very good gap closer with that mobility, as well as a kind of a wall with his ultimate as well. But Vel'Koz, you can kind of say the same as far as the safe mid laner. Is Nubsy going to be locked in for? Nubsy it is, so it's going to be a Vel'Koz versus an Azir in that mid lane.
Yeah, ever since Azir joined us in the meta, it's been sort of a race to find the Azir counter, and it looks like we're going to be exploring whether or not Vel'Koz fits that niche. The only champion I've seen so far that does it really well, rather consistently, is Karma mid, actually. I've seen that picked up a few times against Azir, and often it goes even, and occasionally the early damage that Karma can output will actually shove an Azir out of lane. So, I'm surprised not to have seen that pick. Actually, it would have gone really, really well alongside Sivir and Maokai, but maybe Nubsy is just a solid Vel'Koz player, and this is just a comfort pick for him.
And that's what I was talking about earlier. Collegiate games, they will bring out these niche picks. I absolutely love them because it's a chance to see picks that I normally wouldn't. Although Vel'Koz has been seeing some play in the NALCS. I think Bjergsen's actually been picking him up a little bit in competitive play. So Vel'Koz he's starting to become more visible to players in general, but yeah, he still has weaknesses. He's very safe laner, but he has no mobility, so if Flash is down, he's vulnerable. He has to stay extraordinarily safe after that, but he is taking teleport, so he's going to have some global presence over his mid lane counterpart who's taking heal. But the remaining timer is counting down. I am going to go ahead and give a quick shout out to our sponsors, Twitch.tv. Of course, you're watching us on Twitch.tv. Thank you for sponsoring us and being a part of us every week here. Well, I also want to give a shout out to Brain Gear. It's a small NSF little 2-ounce shot formula that provides the focus and clarity for your best of 3s or your finals, spring finals, it's whatever. Go check them out on Twitter at Brain Gear and tweet with the hashtag ThinkBig. And of course, want to give a shout out to Azus ROG. That's Azus Republic of Gamers. They are the ones funding our road to DreamHack, funding the prizes, the prize pool, and getting the players to DreamHack in Austin, Texas in about 2 weeks. So very excited to have them as a sponsor. Go check them out on Twitter at ASUS_ROG and thank them for sponsoring the CSL. My name is Joshua Fekesquest here with Octavian. We'll be back on the Rift in just a moment. have a first blood coming out. Hold on one moment. There we go. First blood does come out. Did go over to Mikey Mouse in the beginning there. Sorry about that. Looks like the Riot client decided to go a little bit laggy there. Mikey Mouse picking up another kill onto Flamejin. So, all right, a minute into the game, we already have 2 kills for RMU.
Yeah, the client wanted to hide for us how that particular fight began.
All right, I'm glad I'm not the only one. All right.
No, I loaded in, I believe, at around 54 seconds or something like that.
All right.
And we saw Robert Morris coming around the corner through the Krug camp. Not entirely sure how they got exactly there. We don't know their full path coming in, but you can kind of guess it, actually, by looking at where the ward coverage is. And not only do they pick up first blood and a second kill on top of that, they also get really good ward coverage on the bottom side of the map. Going to be showing them exactly where this top lane jungle duo are starting off.
Alright, so yeah, very big lead for RMU, and yeah, like you said, information is sometimes one of your biggest assets in this game, and they do have it. Nubsy taking a turret shot in the mid lane, not going to help him at all, but again, going to be the safe mid laner he is. I think he'll be alright for that one. Double jungles coming out from both sides, both teams.
I think the most impactful result of that start is the fact that Mikey Mouse has a cull on top of his Doran's Blade. Mikey Mouse picked up both of those kills, first blood and another one. And getting cull at 2 minutes is basically the best part of the game to get cull at. You can't really have a better start than that. All of this farm is going to count, not quite for double, but say for another 15-20% extra for him for the first part of this game.
Yeah, and not to mention, there are 3 members who got 2 assists off of that as well, so that's a little bit of bonus gold as well over to RMU. Of course, Cynotic, he only got 1 assist, but he's a support, he's going to be alright with that, and yeah, overall, that invade was very well planned by RMU, but a lot of aggression going into the mid lane. Shadow Visions pops his heal, still does not have his flash from that gank, and freaking Pope takes him down in the mid lane. 3 kills now for RMU.
Yeah, that may not have been their original gank path, but knowing that Azir had both summoners down from that early engagement, the 5v5 at level 1, it was the only logical choice, really, and I'm rather surprised that NCSU still opted for this 4v1 push top, knowing that Azir was in such a weak position, because maybe they could have devoted the resources from Pluck and Penguin to be there for a counter gank in mid lane. Maybe not. As it is, though, they're going to be shoving up the top lane outer turret.
First turret of the game does go down in favor of Robert Morris University. We're going to see if North Carolina State University can counter it, or actually, I guess, match it, and they do in that top lane. So, turret for turret, as the typical lane swap goes. Going to try to aggress this laning phase, try to get it done as early as possible. Let's see if that benefits NCSU. Or RMU here, but Shadow Visions, my goodness, so much damage. Not only the true damage, but also Thunderlords coming out from Nubsy in the mid lane.
Well, whatever pick you're playing against, it's a lot easier to counter out Nazir when he doesn't have any summoners and he's died already before 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Matchup doesn't come into the picture as strongly when there's that big of a just simply objective disadvantage. And these tectonic disruptions have been so on point. He is landing those time after time.
Yeah, and that's what you need to land the entire combo from a Vel'Koz. So if you can dodge those, you can dodge most of the damage, but if you get hit, you're going to get hit by pretty much all the damage. And so far, yeah, Nubsy, he's been spot on with those tectonic disruptions. So, looks like Shadow Visions, he needs to be careful, needs to play even safer. And you think he could be with the Sand Soldiers, but once you go out of a certain range point with Sand Soldiers, you actually cannot CS with them. So he's trying his best, and it's just in range enough for Nubsy to land Tectonic Disruption. Very nice read from Nubsy, knowing he's able to do that against an Azir as Vel'Koz.
Maybe seeing an attempted gank top lane, as this would be a 3v2 if they can make this fight happen. There's a lot of vision on the way up, but it may not matter.
Flash coming out from Pure here. He actually gets jumped on. Silence is going to keep him alive for a little bit longer. Here's the heal coming out. Cynotic, he flashes in there underneath the turret. Flamejin, he's going to be able to stay alive during this one. Turret shot's a little bit too strong for RMU in that dive in top lane right now, but looks like
the amount of extra health they got to work with because that Soraka wasn't really interrupted in her healing endeavors made it so they could get back to the turret, they could get underneath it, and return to safely farming here. A good point that we should hit is the amount of investment that we're seeing come out from Robert Morrison already for vision control. There's 2 pinks laid down on the map and 2 more sitting in inventories, so they've already almost got their full allotment of pink wards on the map here.
Yeah, oh, the javelin, I should say, landed onto Flamejin. Now, who's going to take the kill here? It is going to be Mikey Mouse. He's on a killing spree right now. That call at 57 stacks left for the CS to... Or actually, I think it counts up. I actually don't remember now, but almost.
It counts down from 100.
Okay, yeah, counts down from 100, so he's almost at halfway point on that one. So he is going to snowball himself into a very early mid game.
Yeah, it's a little strange. I believe it's the only stacking mechanism in League that works that way, which makes it rather unintuitive. But that's going to be a turret advantage going over to the side of Robert Morrison, who are coming roaring out the gate in this match. Already 4-0 at 6 minutes and 40 seconds into the game.
4-0 and 2 turrets. They are 1 turret up already on against NCSU, so they definitely have the global pressure. They have the gold advantage as well, and especially, like I said, Turb and Nubsy both have teleport. They can pull out a lot of global plays right now, and they're waiting to pull that trigger whenever it comes time here. Turb, he's just fine farming underneath this turret. There's one thing that this meta has shown us is that, well, we've seen it before, but tanks, they don't need much gold to really be effective. So Turb having a little bit, only 25 farm at 7 minutes, it's not that big of a detriment to him.
It's the only differential that's in favor of NCSU right now as well. If you look at any other lane, even, well, not quite the jungle matchup anymore, that actually just shifted back in favor of them. Right. But if you look at any other lane here, there is a huge amount of CS difference, and especially in the duo lane. I don't want to say bot because they were up top. Between Flamejin here and Mikey Mouse. Mikey Mouse having nearly double. Shadow Vision's going so very low there.
Yeah, the heal had to be popped from Shadow Vision just to stay alive during that one. Tectonic Disruption hit after level 6, so that prompted the Lifeform Disintegration Ray. And Nubsy's going to shove Shadow Visions out of that lane, take a little more damage on that turret, and just farm up even more. He's over 20 CS up right now on Shadow Visions.
This game is rushing so quickly towards an almost unwinnable state for the side of NCSU. This is a pretty pitch-perfect performance from RMU right now.
Yeah, and they really want to go to DreamHack, and that's where you can tell they know exactly what they need to do. DreamHack, that's going to be huge for any of these teams. They want to meet Maryville in the finals. Assuming that Maryville goes, they are the odds-on favorite right now, but we'll see who they play against as tomorrow. I actually believe the game after this one will determine who plays against Maryville in the semifinals in Austin DreamHack. But it looks like right now, RMU, they're just focused on getting to DreamHack, and they're well on their way right now. Like you said, 0-4. They are 4K, almost 4K up in gold right now. After this turret, they may be about 4K up.
Yeah, you really couldn't have a better early game than this. We already see the Cold more than halfway fully stacked. I mean, usually you get the Cull at 5 minutes, and at this point, it's like 20 stacks, maybe 30 done. And that's if you opt into getting the Cull. That is a barometer of how well this game is going for the side of Robert Morrison, because that, I don't know. I can't put enough emphasis on that. This Sivir is going out of control right now.
Yeah, and we were talking about yesterday how ADCs are kind of wimpy right now, but when you start 3-0, they're not. Mikey Mouse, he is in a
good way to make up for it.
Yeah, he's in a prime position. 10 minutes in, he has quite a bit of items damage already. Hold on, there's Shadow Vision's getting knocked up. He's going to try to go back in. Such a nice play out of Nubsy, knocking him back into turret, plucking Penguin there to pick up the kill. It's a very fantastic play from Shadow Visions. That's exactly the kind of plays that NCSU need to make.
Shadow Visions maybe could carry out this late game if they can get them to that point. It's a long way back to climb, but maybe they can climb it. They've got a bottom lane that can stabilize with the Soraka. Just farm up and try to sustain through anything that Mikey Mouse can throw at them. And of course, Gragas is going to be useful in the late game one way or the other. So maybe my belly aching about their early game is unwarranted, as we actually see a teleport play in mid.
And a flash coming out, but Lamb's Respite comes in underneath the turret. And don't think it's going to save Pluckin' Penguin. Actually just delays his death, though. Freaking Pope almost went down, but is able to stay alive after pouncing out of the Lamb's Respite. And out of range as well. Very nicely played. Turb also there. Turret secure in the mid lane for RMU.
There is no such thing as too much force to get that kill. They sent everything they had at that Kindred, and Lamb's Respite, as you said, was just kind of a measure to buy some time. Try to take a kill back as well onto Freakin' Pope, pardon me. But with the mid lane turret falling as well, that is a 4,000 gold lead at 11 minutes for RMU.
Yeah, normally this early in the point in the game, we wouldn't be emphasizing the KDA, the skill, the kill score, or the gold gap, but it's so significant right now at such an early part of the game that it kind of bears attention at the moment. And the dragon was also taken. We didn't even talk about the dragon going over to RMU. They actually got the first dragon early on as well. So taking control of every aspect of this game, every objective, and like I said, they haven't even taken advantage of their teleports to do some sort of double gank or split push. So there's a lot in Robert Morris University left that we haven't seen that NCSU need to deal with if it gets to the late game, which so far RMU looks like they want to try to finish this one early.
Yeah, and in a position like this, you start looking towards what went wrong in this game, because it's really hard to pull back in this particular game, but it is a best of 3, and not everything is lost if you give up the ghost on this particular match. So you look at what went into making this such a rough game, and sadly for us casters, part of it was that level 1, which you didn't get to see a lot of, but another part of it was simply not taking any measures to try and shore up the gaps that level 1 created. As up in top lane, we have the first aggressive move here from NCSU.
Yeah, Turb is marked. He has the Vengeful Maelstrom popped, though. He's still not going to save him. Giscard able to pick up that kill. So a little bit of something picked up for North Carolina State University, but they're losing a bot lane turret with so much of focus on the top lane. Flamejin, he gets knocked up. Lifeform Disintegration Array was actually available, but with Puree there on Soraka, did not feel confident in getting that kill. So just going to take the turret and back off. 4 turrets now for RMU at the 13-minute mark.
Yeah, and while they do manage to get the kill back in top side, it goes over to Gragas, who is pretty much just going to be Gragas one way or the other. Giscard with 1 kill, Giscard with 0 kills. It doesn't make too much of a difference in the way he's going to play moving forward. And they lose a secondary turret on the bottom side for it, so I would say that Robert Morris still comes out on top in that exchange.
Yeah, very much so. Now they're rotating to the mid lane to actually protect their own mid lane turret, because they want to keep this objective control as much as possible in their grasp. So one thing also... Excuse me about that. One thing also about ending the game early, so you're going into the semifinals, this is the quarterfinals, you have a chance to get into the semifinals. One of the most important things you can do is win early, because that means your enemy team that you go against in the semifinals, possibly even the finals, they won't have a chance to study you once it gets to the late game. Now on the other side of that, Robert Morris University, if they end the game so fast, they won't have a chance to know what it's like to play late games. It's kind of like that Immortal syndrome right now that we saw in the NALCS playoffs. They got 3-0'd because they never lost. They didn't know how to come back. They didn't know how to anti-tilt. So that is something you have to worry about if you finish the game too early, but at the same time, you don't give your opponents the chance to study you. But as I say that, Turb, he's getting ganked upon here. It's gonna go down eventually. Who's gonna get it? Grisgard actually going to pick up that kill once again. So they're taking advantage of Turret being out of position, and this time RMU, they're deciding to take a dragon instead of a turret.
Yeah, they continue to bully Turb here. 0-2, the only scoreline that isn't looking so healthy on the side of Robert Morris. But as I said last time a kill happened with Gragas, I'll say it again, it's not that big a deal. Maokai being 0-2, Gragas being 2-0, with the nature of top lane and with how these tanks with damage have been behaving in the recent meta, it's certainly nice. It's going to make Giscard be tanky enough maybe to actually survive.
Oh god.
Mikey Mouse, Shadow Vision's going solo there. Has to dash away underneath his turret.
And the wish was coming in from Puree as well, so Shadow Visions, everything was needed there to save him. The heal, the ultimate from Soraka. That is going to be pivotal whenever both of those are down and they end up engaging again, because especially heal, Lifeform Disintegration Ray is going to be up way before that, and they needed both just to save him there.
Yeah, and killing Turb a few times isn't going to solve their problems. Turb,
no.
Turb is going to have a Sunfire Cape and be able to engage one way or the other, and that's all he needs to do for his team, because he's got a 3-0 Sivir, a 2-0 Nidalee, and a 40 CS lead on his mid laner. He's got the resources to be Maokai, and that's all he's got to do.
Yeah, Nubsy, he doesn't have a kill, but he is getting plenty of farm in the game and plenty of gold. He actually has second most gold in the game right now at 6,000. Of course, Mikey Mouse, he has the most, and no surprise there. He's not sold his coal yet. He actually still hanging on to that one, but he can sell that one for even more gold if he wants to. Already has the bonus from stacking it up because he's already got the extra 100 CS from it because he got it so early. So very, very good position for RMU right now. It's 3-5 in CSU. They're able to get a few picks on the top lane, but so far still have not been able to pick up the objective control as the Rift Herald goes over to RMU.
Yeah, second Rift Herald of the game for them. Second Dragon of the game as well. Not a single global objective having fallen aside from that top turret that kind of was a given during the lane swap early on. It's just looking more and more rough as we move further and further into the game. Mikey Mouse now with the Rift Herald buff is going to shove up the bottom lane, and there's not really much that can answer him unless they overcommit too many resources and give up something somewhere else.
Vision control trying to be established in the enemy jungle by Cynotic, and why not? They have control. They have the bottom inner turret taken, so they have a lot of control in that bot side jungle of NCSU. Javelin Touch is barely missing.
At this point, it's really Robert Morris's game to lose. They've got all the advantages here, and they have to make a mistake for NCSU to come back in this. There's no real aggressive play that NCSU can make that won't be countered, at least, on some other part of the map by pressure. As we've seen with Turb going down a few times, maybe they get a kill onto the Maokai who's solo pushing top, but it doesn't really matter as Dragon goes down or a secondary turret does, or just more farm accumulates on the carries.
Well, pressure being speaking of here, it's actually a 1-1-3 split push right now, considering the Rift Herald is on Mikey Mouse. He can split push the bot lane while Nubsy and Turb split push their solo lanes, because Nubsy, he can 100 to 0 Shadow Visions with a Tectonic Disruption combo, and Turb, I mean, he does have teleport. There's no one. They have to give up so much if they want to go stop Turb, like you were talking about. So they're able to really utilize this 1-1-3 split push very well right now, and try to pressure 3 turrets at once. And they almost have the spot lane inhibitor turret down. It looks like they may get it on this run here, and they are.
That second dragon buff coming in handy for this kind of pushing style, because it makes every single member of the team a pushing threat with the amount of burn damage that they can do to turrets. And having it at 18 minutes just makes these turrets feel like they're made of tissue paper.
Yeah, and while we were talking about that, also Nubsy able to finish off his mid lane turret, rotating a top turret. They may just get the 3 turrets within the last minute here if they play this out right. And actually Turb and Nubsy, yeah, they're on that turret in the top lane, inner top lane, solo right now. Here comes a teleport from...
This is what I was talking about.
Giscard.
They try to
Oh
engage enough resources in the bottom side of the map to stop the push, and so of course they lose something top side with Nubsy and Turb rotating up there to take out a secondary top turret. The bleeding is just too profuse now. I don't know if there's a way to stop it, even with Soraka.
Yeah, and this was a big, I guess a big woe for NCSU in the pick and ban phase. They don't have that much of an engagement here, especially picking a Soraka for support. They have a lot of get out of jail cards, but I mean, they're being jailed quite often here. And I guess their only big engage is maybe an explosive cast, trying to knock somebody back into their own team. But RMU, they're not grouping up for that. They're able to split push, take advantage of the lack of wave clear, lack of engage. Yeah.
We are officially at a 10,000 gold differential before 20 minutes.
My God.
That's frankly a little bit obscene.
The Dragon going, not Dragon, the blue buff rather, going over to Nubsy. Dragon is going to be up in 40 seconds. Baron, I usually don't say it's going to be up at 20 and 5 seconds because it's up at 20 minutes typically here, but it's a huge factor right now. RMU, they could actually pressure the Baron, and I would more than likely win a team fight here and just take Baron and maybe even win the game before 25 minutes if they decide to do that. RMU, they're in prime position to do whatever they want and make very quick work of this best of 3, especially game number 1.
Potentially. We might actually see a desperation Baron from the side of NCSU. I mean, I don't know what would get them back in this game. Robert Morris trying to do Baron, failing to account for its damage and aggro properly, and backing off incorrectly. That's pretty much the only way I can see them giving up an opening into this game, so they don't really need to go for the Baron. Is the thing. They can take Dragon, they can get a 3rd stack of that, they can continue the 1-3-1, which has already been demonstrated NCSU has no way to deal with, and they can just choke NCSU out of this game, probably be done by the 25-minute mark.
They've been doing a superb job doing that so far. Freaking Pope just soloing the dragon, because why not? Turb split push in the top lane, still has teleport in case NCSU find a way to engage onto the remaining members of RMU on the bot side. But it looks like they're all going to break up. Grisgard also just going to rotate to the top lane, try to stop Turb, at least keep him at bay. But the teleport is still going to come in for Turb if he's needed. Could easily teleport to the bot lane and just engage onto the remaining members of NCSU or take this inhibitor. But they may not even need the teleport. They may just want to keep Grisgard in the top lane.
This inhibitor will go down eventually if they don't do anything about it. And that's kind of been the playbook here for NCSU. They've been just having their base and turrets fall around them in tatters, and they haven't been able to do anything about it. Here's the teleport now coming into the bottom side.
He has the home guards coming up. Here's going to be a fast twisted advance if he gets in there. He's actually going to go in on the flames and just zone them all out. Lifeform disintegration rate not being used. It's going to instead, they're going to focus on to the inhibitor turret. And everybody, not inhibitor turret, that was just the inhibitor. Bottom inhibitor does go down. And RMU, they save everything and get out all FS5.
Yeah, that fight wasn't really to pick up kills. It was just to shove them away from the inhibitor and keep them away from absolutely any chance of coming back in this game, any chance of getting a good engage. And this is what I'm talking about. Turb, he may be 0-2, but the amount of global gold that his team has picked up, I think, actually, here, let me check. Yeah, he's sitting 2,000 gold up over the 2-0 Gragas on the other team.
Yeah.
That's just, there's so many turrets that have fallen. The kills don't matter anymore.
Yeah, and yeah, RMU, again, I feel like they could still go for Baron. I know they don't absolutely need it, but it would just help, like, kind of twist that dagger just a little bit more and just keep the game at the rapid pace that it's been going. And it looks like, yeah, they may back off, just go pick up the Baron, and it looks like Nubsy doesn't even need to be there. He's just going to shove into the mid lane, and with bot lane pushing for RMU through the super minions, this is a great opportunity for Robert Morris University, as looks like NCSU, they're planning on pursuing here. They have vision right now. Looks like they're going to catch up. Yeah. Now, Grisgard, he's caught out. Is he going to go down? He eventually does. Lifeform disintegration rate tears through NCSU's members. And now 2 of them down. Plucking Penguin, Lamb's Respite coming down, but it's only going to delay the inevitable, just like earlier. Freaking Pope picking up a kill. Is it going to be a double kill? It is, and there's only 1 member left on the side of NCSU to defend. Bottom turret is, actually, bottom Nexus turret has super minions onto it, and this may be game number 1 going to RMU.
This has been one of the most textbook games of League of Legends I have seen in a long time. And it results in, as I estimated earlier, actually just around a 25-minute win, a little bit earlier than I thought, 24 minutes coming up on the clock. More than 10,000 gold in the lead, looking to be about 15,000 nearly. And Robert Morris,
My God,
is looking strong here.
Yeah, they're keeping their undefeated streak alive right now, and they're going on to a game number 2. We're going to go and get that one set up. Very decisive victory by RMU. It's like they did not ever get out of the driver's seat in that one. Even from the, honestly, right when we got into game, they were getting kills, literally, when we got into game. So, my name is Joshua Fecka's Quest. I'm here with Octavian, going to get game number 2 set up. We'll be back in just a moment. Stick around for game number 2 in this best of 3. The winner decides who goes to DreamHack in Austin, Texas. Stick around.